Alright, hello everybody, this is Roadrunner. This is the second time I'm recording this because when I recorded it earlier, I started it from my house and I was doing good, explaining why we were here and shit, and then all of a sudden, about the 25-minute mark, we ended up losing storage. So, yeah, now I gotta restart the damn thing. The premises of this video was, as you always see, I got my bedroll bundle here as well as some supplies we brought. I got Avery with me, and the reason why we're out here is I wanted to come and camp out for the day and for the night, and we might either leave tonight or we'll leave tomorrow morning. It just depends because of the rain going on. And I'm gonna try to make this as fast as possible because I don't want to lose storage again. But what I was saying before I lost storage and I had to delete everything was when, right now we're living in a very hard time. Try to sit here real quick. We got this supposed virus going on. Please don't debate me with it right now. I don't care. We got people losing jobs. Places are going out of business, especially local businesses. I'm surprised, to be honest, that both my rinks are still going, especially my Nacogdoches rink. But what I was saying was, instead of looking at how bad the situation is, like for example, your family, your husband, your wife, whatever, and you and your kids and your significant other had just been, you just lost your home, whether it's a fire or it's another Great Depression, and the bank had to kick you out of the house because you had the mortgage you hadn't paid off. So, because of that, you have to find other means to live. Now, of course, in the old Great Depression era, in the 30s, families moved in together. You had mom and dads, aunts and uncles living with other relatives, their adult children, whatever. And everybody lived in one house, but everybody made it work. So, because of that, everybody was able to pull money together. And the more people in the house making more money, the more the household is going to succeed, regardless of what's going on. But what if you don't have family? Well, it's known that families had to move into what was called shanty towns, which was later nicknamed Hoovervilles because everybody believed President Hoover was the reason for their troubles. And to be honest, I don't blame them, because if Hoover would have actually, I will say this: I don't really think it's a good idea for government to be involved in people's lives. Avery, get out of it. You don't know where that water's been. I already you earlier. Anyways, I don't believe government should stay in people's lives. I think they need to mind their own business. But at the time, considering what was going on and the stock market was crashing and banks were closing and people couldn't get their life savings out, which is another thing, I would never, especially right now, and I got a lot of it out, but not all of it, I would never keep a very big amount of money, regardless of what that amount is. If it's greater than what's already on me, I would not keep that amount of money in the bank, because if that bank closed tomorrow, I don't get to have that money. And to me, that's really bullshit. But anyways, families had to move into different kind of dwellings. Like I said, they named shanty towns Hoovervilles because they believed President Hoover at the time in the early 30s was the reason for all of it, and I don't blame them for that. But they had to move into, like, I'm pretty sure they moved into abandoned buildings. I wouldn't doubt it. They lived in tents. They lived in different, different shelters were made out of different things, different materials that they found. Even if it was like a big giant piece of plywood with a big giant tarp over it, I'm pretty sure they lived in it. They lived in their cars. They lived in cardboard boxes, which was not a good idea because they eventually ended up either blowing away or the rain made sure that it didn't stay up. So, with that being said, that's why I said you have to get creative with it. By the way, there's apartments over there, if anybody's wondering. Anyways, now granted, I've been on the road for at least 5.5 years, so I'm kind of used to this. But if for some reason the house I live in, which is owned by my mother, was either on fire for whatever reason, which I hope it's not, or she had to sell it because she needed the money or whatever, if we weren't able to live it anymore, I know, because of my years and experience of being on the road, that I can either come out here and set up shop, which is what I was talking about in the previous recording of this video before I had to delete it, or if it was just me and Xena, or me, Xena, and Avery, I can go back on the road. I could store all my stuff here, probably buried it underground or whatever in a cache, and go on the road and then come back with more money and do whatever. It's all about what you know and the amount of time you spend trying to develop the skills you need and trying to get what it is you need, basically, which I know I botched that, whatever. Out here, like, I have 3 tents. If anything, that little clearing right here where this branch is between this tree and that tree, I would, oh, sorry. Anyways, I would clear out the branches and the little trees are trying to grow right there. I would clear that out and put my military half shelter there, because I have a full military half shelter tent with both sides of it now. And so all I gotta do is just set that up, and I got my shelter. And technically, I wouldn't even be homeless. And I can, bring the crates. I could bring crates of supplies over here. I could sell what I don't need before I have to leave the house. It's all about what you know and what you can do with that knowledge you have. Because if you don't have knowledge, and this is the reason why I don't agree with today's generation, like down to the 90s and 80s, because it seems like a lot of kids these days, even if they're in Boy Scouts, it seems like a lot of kids these days are more worried about the video games and the new iPhone and Android coming out. And granted, I have video games too, but I'm not addicted to it. I'd rather be out here with any of my dogs, especially Xena and Avery, because I feel more at home and more at peace being with nature. Especially if I know the area, I feel more comfortable here. I feel accepted because I don't have people here to judge me for who I am, especially being a hobo. Having any amount of my dogs here makes it even better, because I feel like if I fall asleep, I know for a fact that somebody did happen to have a chance of walking up on us, especially Avery, being as alert as she is, she would tell me. So my point is that if you have kids and you've lost your home or whatever, I would not panic. I would get creative. First off, I would get a storage unit if you can, before anything happens, and get the cheapest you can, get the smallest. And I'll do a future video of this. I don't have my storage unit anymore because I didn't need it, or my mom didn't think I needed it, so we took everything out the other day. But what I would do, I would store a tent in there, especially a canvas one. I would store at least a good 3 crates or 3 boxes or whatever of non-perishable foods and MREs and freeze-dried stuff from Walmart or whatever. I would get clothing. I'd get all this stuff, camping gear, clothing. I would keep the original documents like birth certificates, IDs, and stuff like that in there. And if a house fire did happen, granted, hopefully everybody gets out, if your whole house was lost, but you're like me and you had the keys with you to your lockup and you have your vehicle with you, you might want to get a van, or you might want to get a truck or whatever, especially a truck with a camper on it. In other words, you wouldn't technically be homeless. You can grab that stuff from the lockup, and either you can come out to a place like this and set up shop. And to be honest, if I were y'all, especially if you have kids. Don't camp with other people you don't know, especially homeless people, older homeless people, because I don't, it scares me knowing, because especially out in like the cities of New Orleans, I've seen homeless families there, kids included, living on the streets, and that hurts seeing that. I would hate it even worse if I read a story where a homeless family went to a homeless camp and stayed there, and the kids got raped or molested or whatever. And that shouldn't happen. That's disgusting, obviously. And so what I would do, I would never, especially with kids, I would never camp with other homeless people, because even though there's strength in numbers, if you don't know these people, they could tell you, my name is John Doe, I would never hurt your kids. And the next thing you know, they fucking do. So you gotta have safety. Obviously I would have a gun if I were y'all. And then if anything, either you could live in your van or live in your truck with the camper on the bed of the truck, which is probably a better idea. Or like I said, you could come out to some place like this and set up shop. You just gotta be creative. But if anything, if I was doing this here, I would be secret about it. I would never tell anybody I was out here. And since nobody even knows where this location is, I'm not really worried. But yeah, so I don't know really what else to say other than oh, another thing is what I would do since I'm here. This is just an example. If y'all remember the video I did last time, obviously y'all see all these tires here, right? So let's say, for example, if y'all have the tools but y'all don't have boots or whatever, what I would do, and what they did in the old days, and what the Viet Cong did in the Vietnam War, is they would take the tires off old trucks and old military vehicles, and they would cut them up, and they would make sandals out of it. So if I had to come out here, look at all these tires I have. I mean, they're old and they're rotting away and shit. Some of them are, but a lot of these are still good enough where I could go ahead and make at least a good, I say 45 to 50 pairs of sandals. Another thing is, if y'all remember from the last video, there's this green trailer right here, and we couldn't get it open. Well, I still can't get it open, but I noticed right here at the top, it's open. Look down in it, and sadly there ain't nothing here, but because there's nothing here, imagine the possibilities. I hope I don't drop this. Imagine the possibilities I could do with this trailer if I had to live in it. Now, of course, I gotta get all of that right there cleared away from the door, which I'll probably do here next week, depending on how the weather goes around here. We're supposed to have a hurricane come in by tomorrow or Thursday, I don't know when. Hurricane Laura, which would be my 5th hurricane. Apparently, the other hurricane dissipated, I think, if that's the right word. Do y'all understand what I mean by being creative with y'all's situation? That's why I don't, agree with these home bums who like to go to street corners and hold up signs begging people for money. Because if anything, y'all know, I love working. I hate looking like a bum. I hate being looking like a bum ain't one thing, but being a bum is another. I hate it when people think that they need to randomly hand me money, which, don't get me wrong, I appreciate it. But at the same time, if you don't make me work for it like I want, I'm going to feel a lot less accomplished for getting that. And it's not only for money, it's for other things as well. Like, food and supplies and shit. That's why, like, out here, if I had to, what little money I make from dumpster diving, if I didn't have a job, I can use that to get dog food, and then everything else I get, I can use, well, I take that back. If the little money I make, I would only use that for dog food. And I say that because of the fact that since I dumpster dive a lot, I can easily get supplies out of the dumpster, because as I said in one of my last videos, we are a throwaway society. And truthfully, I do find it as a problem with all these hungry people we got, But at the same time, it's also an advantage for me because that means I don't have to be worried about money. I don't have to worry about eating and stuff like that. So anyways, this is going to be a long video again. It's after the 15-minute mark. We'll stay out here for a couple hours. I can see the storm clouds are starting to come over here, and they're also starting to go over here. But supposedly, from what I was reading on my phone, they're going to be coming this way too. So we'll hang out here probably till either later on today, or we'll head over to, or we'll leave tomorrow morning. It just depends. But anyways, I hope you guys understood what I was trying to say. And if anything, I would like for somebody to actually start a conversation with me about this down below. I really would like to have everybody else's thoughts. So anyways, peace out, and we'll see y'all later. Avery, pretty girl, say goodbye. Ow!